Hi guys, welcome on in. I am Robin, also known as Robin. This is my small crochet business called Sweet Beans Crochet, where I make and sell crochet plushies. This is a market week, so I'm going to be selling my crochet plushies at a market. I'm just as excited to do it now as I was at the beginning of this journey because it's always so exciting to plan for a market, prep what to make sure I have the inventory and everything for the display. I feel like the display is things I look forward to the most because you get so much creative influence on how you display your products, and it's market week. So at the end of this week on Saturday, I do have an event that I'm going to be selling my plushies at. So if you want to see what I plan to make and what I ended up doing this last week, then stay tuned, grab a whip and a drink, and I'll see you in a second. I have not picked my camera up in so many days that the last time I picked this up was the day that I showed you guys my farm animals. If you missed that, check my last vlog out. It was a really fun way to end my last video where I showed you guys the farm animals. The horse at the end, Vero, picked up my mic and dropped it. So there's just like little bits of like sand in my like little fluffy part here, and I don't know if it makes a difference, but I don't want to take the fluffy bit off. This last week I spent quite a bit of money on new patterns, tried new patterns out. I've got a couple freebies and then some like oldies but goodies that I love making. So I did do a lot of like prep work. Let me just share with you like kind of the stuff that I've been making the last week. Before anything, I started working on a new pattern that I wanted to write, which is a new crochet doll, which is going to be Hinata. I'm going to call her Himara, I believe. I had another name to go along with Nori, which is like my little bite-sized anime characters. I started working on Hinata, and then I realized I should be market prepping, not like anime, having my little anime splurge. So I stopped doing Hinata pretty quickly, and I made quite a bit of all from jade whales. Like, this is just the first half of the pattern, so this is like the first couple rounds, and then I still have to switch to the belly color, add the eyes, close it up, add stuffing. So I still have like half of the projects to make of these. They're not completely done yet. So I got 3 yellow, 3 of the dark blue, 5 of this like green, turquoise teal, got 5 in blush, 5 in hot pink, 3 in orange. And then I made a bunch in like a Bernat dappled cake, which was like an ombre effect. So they were really pretty and they're like a blue. So I've got a bunch of like blue ones. But at my last market, I basically sold out of these whales to a point where I only had the gray ones left. They're the only thing at my table worth $5 anymore. I knew I needed to stock up on them. I also enjoy making them. It's a really mindless process. This pattern is from All From Jade. It's a free pattern on her Instagram. It's been really beneficial to my small business. I've been making this pattern for over a year and a half now. It's great for beginners. It's really fun to do. There's really no way to mess this up. The fins may be complicated if you're not used to working in chains. I really enjoy this little whale pattern, so I highly recommend if you're doing markets or if you just want to make something tiny, handheld, and quick, and you're making plushies like you crochet, I recommend this crochet pattern. I do have her little Asian food pack, so I made those and sold them at my last market too. And then I moved on and I started making little dogs because the event that I'm going to this next week is a 5K like dog run. So I started making, and I purchased a bunch of like little dog patterns, which some of them I just did not enjoy making. This is me crocheting a tentacle on the Plushie squid pattern. I wanted to just show you how long it takes me to crochet in a chain. I'm pretty slow, I take my time, and this is me double speed, so each stitch, you know, this is just the effort that goes into crochet. I thought it was interesting to maybe share that with you as a visual to see like how I crochet and just like how long it takes me. This is just one tentacle, by the way. And this pattern is very fun. This is me working in Ice Green with Sweet Snuggles Light. I love this yarn. So this is not me having difficulty with yarn. This is just like working in a chain. And then it got twisted up, so I had to let it roll out. So yeah, that's me crocheting in technically not real time because I sped this clip up for your entertainment purposes. Are you a fast or a slow crocheter? Am I a fast or a slow crocheter? I can't tell. Good morning, beautiful people. My camera died last night, so when I was in the middle of like filming that, it just blipped out of existence. So I need to show you the rest of my like whips that I've made this week because it's Tuesday, my event is Saturday. I don't really enjoy any of the patterns that I made. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. This is just like my personal opinion, and I thought I would like these things. I thought it would be easy and nice, and I just did not enjoy them. Also, I did this a long time ago where I was like clipping this to my Prim crochet hook. I freaking love Prim crochet hooks. Squid, the Kraken has released itself. By the way, this is like my first time making the Plushie Co squid. I've had this pattern forever. Like I purchased this almost 2 years ago, and I never made it. I made a different free squid from Instagram that I've sold in the past, but I never made this one, and so I was really just feeling it. I have a bunch of little whales here, and I want to make little turtles and little shrimp. I want to have like that little section at my table. I feel like that'd look really cute, and I just feel motivated to make the little shrimp pattern on my Instagram. I feel like having a little shrimp, they're so cute, they're really easy, and I have like a good time making them. So because I wanted to have the little shrimp at my table, I wanted to like make this squid and see how long it took me. And so far, I think I'm about like 20 minutes. That's just like me estimating. Also, do you like my like 3-year-old Harry Potter pants? Makes me want to crochet Harry Potter. Every time I watch like a TV show, I'm like, I want to crochet that person. Like every single time. Doesn't matter what it is. I was watching Dog Man in the theater like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, I want to crochet Pete. You know, like I get excited, but then I have to like come back to reality, think about what I can actually make and have time for. If I'm not mistaken, the last thing I showed you was the Puggies Place doggies. So I made the Labrador, which is this one. It's really cute, but I didn't enjoy the ear process. I feel like that could have been easier, and I just did not have a good time. I do, FYI, I enjoy sewing. And instead of this being like a surface crochet thing, which it was that I had to then sew down, I feel like I wish it was just like, I don't know. I just didn't enjoy it. I do not like dislike sewing. I think it brings a lot of character to pieces. I really don't mind doing it. It also gives you like some autonomy over the project. Like I really enjoy choosing where the arms go, which is why in a lot of my patterns, you have to sew on the arm pieces. Yeah, this is the Puggies Place doggies, and I just did not enjoy it. So then I gave it another shot, and I was like, well, I got the pack, like the 3-pack or 6-pack, something like that, of her puppies. And so I made the corgi, and I just didn't really like it. I don't know. And they kind of look like dogs, but I don't know. So I'm going to have those at my table, but I just don't really enjoy them. And then I tried a different dog, which is a new pattern that I also purchased. Find out who this is by. Then I made this little Labrador, which is by S² Creations, and it's really cute, like small. Like this is how big my hand is, and I'd say I have like an average size hand. And for reference, this is the Puggies Place dog, so it's kind of like ginormous compared to how tiny this one is. Super cute. It is standing, like it's not a like sitting dog, but it took me so long. And I also like enjoy, you had to sew on, I believe I had to sew on the ears. The body was all one piece, but then the arms you go back after and you have to surface crochet them, which, I mean, if I'm trying to make this like as low sew as possible, I think I took a picture of, let me show you the picture of how many ends were sticking out after like the surface crocheting, the sewing, and like the tail and the leg thing. You have to sew the legs closed. So it was just a lot for a little project. If I got like special requested, I would definitely make more of these. As far as like prepping goes, I don't know if I enjoyed the process enough to prep this. It's very cute though. I'd say on a scale of, do I want to do this again? I definitely would do this one again versus this one, which I know sounds a little bit maybe ridiculous because this one's like easier, but I just feel like the outcome is much cuter with this one. So if I'm going to put this effort in, this was definitely worth it. But yeah, I have a black lab named Canella, so I was trying to like make little labs. And
And then they have like a wiener dog, a German Shepherd, a pug, and this one's super cute. So I might make some more of these, but I don't know, something, we're allowed to not like patterns, you know, and I just didn't really enjoy the pattern for Poggy's place specifically, which I thought I would enjoy her patterns. I wanted to enjoy the patterns. She's got a ton of like little bitty critters. That's what I'm going to call them, of like little animals, and they're really cute, but I did not have enjoyment making the pattern. I had to take a break from making dogs because I just needed a break. So if you go to Nooks Hooks, she's a lovely crochet pattern designer on Instagram. She's got this really cool fruit dinosaur. It's a free pattern on her page. And this was such a fun project to pick up while I was like not enjoying some of these patterns, and let me just say it was really fun. The whole thing is one piece. You just do like color changes, and then you go back in and do the nubs, which I believe I sewed them on. Yeah, it was all fairly simple, and now I've just got one. I was thinking of making like a whole collection of them, but then I was like, well, this event, like I shouldn't focus my time on this. They're really cute though, so maybe in the future I'll have like a bunch of little fruit stegosauruses, but that was like my break from the puppies, and then I needed to come back to the puppies. And the one pattern I really enjoy making, hold on, I need to find the creator because the pattern doesn't have her name on it. Elegant Purely, and she's got this little wiener dog. Last time I made this wiener dog a couple times, and it always sells out at my markets, which is why I don't have any in my inventory right now. But this is like the little body and the tail, super cute. And then I've got 3 heads, so I just got to sew them together. And then I've got like all of the ears. So I've got 3 heads, 3 little potato bodies. I made this out of mustard by Sweet Snuggles, or Chenille Home Slim mustard. So that's why it's like this color. I don't have any browns from Sweet Snuggles right now. I don't want to use it on this project, so I think I might use some Premier Basic Chenille. I've got a lot of browns in Premier Basic Chenille, so I might make some more of these this week if I feel so inclined. But I just started with 3. I felt like that was good. It's giving me more of a dog base because I do want to have like a little display of just puppies at my table because of the event, and I want to also make some little loaf cats, so maybe I'll make some loaf cats this week as well. But it's already Tuesday. I don't know what to do. Like, I will plan out and write down what I need to make every single day, but then I get to the day and sometimes like life gets in the way of me like just crocheting, or I need to deep clean my house, or I need to like work on taxes right now. Keep all your receipts for tax season, by the way, or like I was using QuickBooks this last year and it really helped me. I thought it would be interesting to just talk about organization really quick because we all have our own methods of organization. As far as like prepping, market prep, like my plans go, I have had multiple different ways that I've tried to keep myself organized, and I just thought I would share with you what I found is best for me. This is like a typical calendar planner. So like it's got the weeks all broken up, and your space to write in some of these days is very tiny, like this big, right? It gives you a note section, but this is my little section per day. And personally, my handwriting is kind of big, and that little section does not let me actually create a task list that I can complete. And if I don't check anything off, it really makes me feel bad about myself, and it makes me feel like I can't accomplish things, right? So I did fill this out for a lot of like my pattern tests in 2024, like my timelines, which is really cool because I can go back and see like when I made certain patterns, like back here in February or March of 2024, Kato, which is like the big dragon pattern out, was on my list, and so was making Kindred Spirits, which is something I made a lot last year, which are like little doll people, bunnies and bear outfits, Studio Stitch CA bunnies, fulfilling eye orders, and a lot of this stuff like this is one of my tally marked eye orders that I needed to get done, and I literally took up the entire week's page with just one section. So this was really not working for me with like my style of how I need to get things done and organize myself. I thought my problem was I just needed a bigger journal. Like I thought I needed a bigger calendar, but I still wanted it in calendar form. I felt like that would help me because I do like work full time and after work list of things I need to get done. Did like about this is they had a huge first page of the month where I would write all of the crochet projects I really wanted to make for that month. Felt like the calendar way of organizing myself was not working, and I would dump things I really wanted to get done in there, but not necessarily priority things. So what I've decided to do this year that has really, really, really benefited me as far as organization and like keeping myself accountable and knowing what I actually got done is keeping a normal journal. So like these are just blank journals. Let me find a blank page where it's just blank journal. They sell these everywhere for really affordable. And I got this one, I believe, at Ross for probably $3. Here, I'm able to pattern design. So like I've got some sketches of like patterns, which is cool. This is, I believe, Aura that I was like sketching out. So I'm able to do my pattern designs and I can just vomit like pattern instructions. I write the date on the top and then like the projects that I completed, and then I have a priority list, always a priority list of things I have to get done. After I make a list of my priorities, I try to keep it to 2 to 3 things. If it needs to be longer, I try to give myself an extra day to do that, depending on if there's a deadline or not. This isn't always business related. It could just be like life related and things I have to get done. But if the list gets too long for priorities of things I feel like I have to get done, I try and make sure it gets spread out between 2 days. And then I'm able to spit out everything that I want to do. And then that list of wants can be carried over to future days. Like I can go and look back and be like, oh yeah, I really was thinking about this. So then on the next Tuesday or the next day when I look at after my priorities are done, then I can do that. So that's just something that I've been working on, is finding the best way to keep myself accountable and organized, especially with like markets. This week, what I had put up on my list was making dogs. So making pugs was one of my things. Was I wanted to make pugs, Labradors, and wiener dogs, which I'm working on labs and wiener dogs. I haven't made the pugs yet. And then I also wanted to make loaf cats, which I still plan on making. Making the dinosaur and like this little squid are just fun projects that I'm giving myself to do after I finish my priority tasks. So that's how I'm like working on keeping myself in a good state. Do I fail? Sure. Do I forget to like write stuff down sometimes, or do I leave my notebook in the car so that like when I actually want to work on things, I don't have my list of what I need to do? I definitely do that, and those are the times where I realize I don't obviously get my list done. My brain does not think about the things I had thought about earlier, because like when you get it out, that's how my brain works. I get it out on the paper. If I don't look back at the paper, I don't remember what I needed to get done. Workstation for like crochet looks a little bit crazy right now if you want to see it. It kind of lets you see like all the stuff I've been getting done this week. Peep the Kakashi in the corner. So yeah, we've got the puppies, we got the Nooks Hooks dinosaur, and then we've got the plushie co that I'm working on right now from my bag. And then these are the weenie bodies and heads, and these are all of my rainbow whales. But I'm gonna go do my full-time job right now, which I really love my job, so it's really not that much of a burden. I just wish I had some time dedicated to my business, which I believe I'm getting Friday off to work on market stuff. I also placed an order because I was looking through all of my bags for markets. I like to have 3 different sizes of bags for my markets. So the smallest ones are 5 by 7 inches, which fit like a little tiny squishy, so like a little tiny ball, or any of my like under $10 items fits in the it's basically 6 by 8 inches, like very small bag. The second size I like to have is 9 by 12. I feel like that fits a lot of the medium-sized plushies. Anything $35 and under kind of fits in this bag size area for me. And then the last size that I have is the jumbo bags, which if they're getting a couple big plushies or even just one giant like character plushie that I carry, or like my dragons and stuff, I have a 15 by 18 bag, and those are huge, which they're a little bit more expensive to have at your table, obviously, like to offer the bigger bags, but sometimes they need it, and depending on what they purchased, but it's definitely worth having. So those are like the 3 kinds of bags that I like to have, like the 3 sizes. So I had to make sure I had enough for my event, and I ordered a couple. I think I ordered 9 by 12 because I was running low on the medium sized bags. So I did have to place an order for bags. I did have to place an order for shipping supplies for like my website and my safety eyes, which I'm going to be working on Sunday right after the market. I'm going to be working on all my safety eye orders. So if you place an order with me, be prepared because it's going to be coming out soon. And I also had to place an order through Vistaprint, which is how I always do my shipping supplies and my business cards and my vinyl banners, like everything that I have to merchandise my company. I always use Vistaprint. And I already have my designs from Canva that I've made. My logo was commissioned by Lala Cloud Crochet. That was her old name. I believe she still goes by Lala Cloud. Let me just double check that. She is also a crocheter, but she designs like logos. So she goes by Lala Cloud Studio now. Sorry about that. Everyone changes their names and then I just don't know. So she designed my bunny logo. And I've taken my bunny logo and I've chosen like my branding colors, and then I've made a lot of things on Canva for my business. But one of the things I really needed to order were more business cards, and through Vistaprint, in order to get free shipping, you have to spend $100, which is a lot for me, and I didn't want to buy over $100 worth of business cards. So in order to meet that requirement, I was thinking of ordering like some stamps for my business, which I don't really use stamps much, like ink stampers. So I decided against that. And then I was looking at the ballpoint pens, maybe having a couple like as freebies, like ordering a couple pens as freebies if you order like a lot, if you purchase a lot. So I was thinking about doing that. And then I came across a 1 foot by 10 foot vinyl banner, which is going to be in front of the tent, that I was thinking would look so good. So I ended up ordering one of those. I think it cost me about $30. So I was able to order 1,000 cards and a 1 by 10 foot banner for the front of my tent, just to make it look a little bit more professional, so people don't have to even look in my booth to see what it is. They could just look at the tent from the outside. So if you're farther away, you can kind of see what I'm selling. So I did have to form that in Canva. Canva does not let you do format of 1 by 10 feet. It just does not let you. So I had to do pixels. I think I did 400 by 4,000 pixels, and that like worked it out math wise, so that I was able to use my designs and my colors in Canva. And then I did order a couple of bungee cords from Amazon so that I can bungee that to the front of my tent. So I'm really looking forward to that. This is just another way to market myself, and I did have to get to the $100 requirement. So that's why I ordered this banner. I'm excited to show that when it all comes in, but I did order standard shipping, so I don't know if it's going to make it before this event or if it's going to be in like a future vlog. Have a wonderful day, you people. I will share with you any crochet plushies I make from now on. I also ordered some stickers to make. I'm going to make a sign that says like spend over $25 and get like a free sticker sheet, which is a little incentive, something to incentivize purchases, because a lot of the time it's like a $10, people just kind of spend $10 and that's it, or they'll spend maybe $15, but to get to that $25 threshold is a little bit more difficult. So I am going to put in this incentive on my table to see if this works. I do not know. I also applied to a couple of other events in my area, so we'll see if I get into those. I don't have anything else booked for the year, so I'm just kind of like going with the flow, seeing what works for me, because last year I'm not going to like repeat what I did last year. So have a wonderful day. I'll see you guys later. Update. I am on my lunch break. It is Thursday. I'm off from work tomorrow, but I made these little shrimpies. This is a free pattern on my page. This first one took me like 19 minutes. I was distracted by a phone call, so that one took me 19 minutes. This one, it has been 10 minutes. He still needs eyeballs and a tail, so I would say I need a couple more minutes. Maybe my average is like 15 on those. It's really not that bad. And I had this skein of loops and threads, Sweet Suckles Light. So yeah, that's my favorite yarn. I'll see you guys later. Hopefully I'll have more crocheted later. Enjoy the rest of your day. Good morning. We're at the event. This is my tent that broke. As you can see, there's like little things sticking out over there. I'm here with my puppy Canela. She's been very good. We've been playing the ball together. She loves ball. Is she? Yeah.
time so far. It goes from being like hot to cold. From hot to cold to hot to cold. So cute, Kanina. Hi everybody, it is me. Oh my goodness. So some things you will do, like right now I'm sunburned, right? Some things you will do and you'll be like, should I continue? Is it worth me going on? Is this worth my time? Like, you know, things about your small business will have you question it. And today I had a great day and I love selling my plushies, but man, was I like super tested. Had a great day, but to get to this point was just a little bit difficult. Number one, my tote bag that I keep all my plushies in, it has been like this certain style of like vacuum seal bag to help keep the plushies together. Ever since I made my trip to Nebraska where I met my friend Victoria, I bought these vacuum seal bags to keep everything like condensed while I was traveling. So that's why I've had these bags, and then I used them after my house flooded because the other bags got thrown away. But they have since like all ripped. So let me just share with you this one bag that like completely ripped. Here's the plushie bag, and I don't know if you can see, like here's the length of the plushie bag. It starts down here. This is the very top right up here. And this is just a complete huge split in it, and it's not even the very bottom, and it wasn't even that full. So it was just one of those, oh, this is my bed. My bed has like my bed has a storage area where I keep like my excess yarn. Also, my little no-face sitting here. I was trying to find a way to display him for a really long time, and I finally found a way on my yarn wall. So that is his permanent hiding spot, and I really love it. But at night when it's dark in my room, and he just looks at me like that, it freaks me out. So highly recommend putting a little no-face in your room. Don't really highly recommend having it stare at you, but it's cute anyways. That happened where the bag exploded. Luckily I have an extra bag of the moving bags I was using before. They're pretty affordable. I believe it was like $20 for 5 of them, so that was worth it. So I do have one of those I need to now transfer everything into, but man, was that just like rough. At my last market, my Square reader wasn't working, so I had to pay extra money in fees. This time I made sure my Square reader was working, and like thank goodness, because every transaction was card, just about. I think one person paid cash, but like everything else was card. I just had a wild day. So let's get into the breakdown of this market. Typically I will share a picture of the plushie, how much it costs, and I'll try and share a little bit about the pattern or the pattern designer, or if I did it for a pattern test and whatnot. So I will have all that stuff linked down below in a document saying pattern tests and or just patterns I purchased, and you can find most of the patterns there. Market recap, market recap, market recap. I have not been filming much at markets, but this last market was freaking nuts, okay? So it was let me just set the scene for you. It was a dog themed like 4K or 5K run. We were located at the end of the run. There was a ton of activities, a lot of vendors. FYI, I was not the only toy vendor. Two stores over, or 2 shops over, was a plushie vendor. She had acrylic pieces as well. It was difficult in the beginning, not because there was another toy vendor there, but because after I had gotten help from my partner setting my tent up, set everything up, he had to leave to go to work. And my tent had 4 weights on it, and it wasn't that windy. I had just put it up my sidewalls, and just however nature intended it, the way that the wind hit was not the way that like the things were holding down the weight. So the weights slid off and my tent just blew off of the ground, meaning, and then when it blew off, it broke. So the top part that like you twist and push up. I have a single hand tent, so it's actually really nice because it's like a 1-man tent. I really love it, and I've been using it for about 1.5 years now, and I had the original like tent cover on there, which was really nice, honestly. Highly recommend that tent, minus the fact that it broke. That was totally my fault. I do have sandbags that can tie to it that I should have brought instead, but when I did check the weather reports in the morning, it didn't say it was going to be windy. Ha ha ha. No, the wind gave everyone a problem. It was windy. It was big gusts. And maybe it was the way that like we were lined up like directly against the wind. When it blew in, it just like pushed
pushed the tent back and it flipped, unfortunately. So the wind gave everyone a problem, and for me, it just so happened that like the way that my tent weights were sitting on the tent and then the way that the gust of wind came just completely pulled the tent off the ground, and then it flipped upside down, which I thankfully had neighbors to help me like lift it back up. So like we like flipped it over, and then it just would not pop back up. So like it was like the tent was crippled, kind of. I don't know how to explain that, but it was like crumpled in. And so I just had to like pull the tent back and collapse it. And there were pieces of metal like broken and sticking out. So it's definitely garbage. I do need to like dispose of it next trash day because it is just completely broken, and I need to invest in a new tent. I don't have another outdoor event planned, so it's okay. And thankfully, this was not a rainy day in Florida. If you have been here, you have seen my rainy days in Florida, and I have struggled with those. However, it was not rainy, so I'm really grateful. It was cloudy and it was pretty chill outside, so it was nice that I wasn't like boiling. I did get a sunburn, so like, I don't know if you can see that. I'm really pale. I didn't have sunscreen or know that this was gonna happen, so I just burned, but it's okay. It wasn't that bad. It was cloudy outside, and I had to be set up at 7 a.m. It was a 6-hour event, and honestly, by 12 o'clock, people were already broken down and leaving. It was supposed to be up until 1, so it was a little bit like definitely hindered traffic because people were just started to pull up on the grass, like drive on the grass and like pack up their cars and leave. And so like that definitely caused like traffic and like people to be like, oh, okay, it's over. And then no one came for a while. So like that definitely caused some disruption. And I believe that it said don't pack up early. So I was confused why that was going on, but I'm not the coordinator. The event was actually run really nicely, run well, and the activities that were offered were great. There was no like kid zone. I typically I do well with like when there's kid activities or like bouncy houses or kid zones. In this situation, it was just like a 4K dog runs. There were a lot of dog lovers. I had quite a couple plushies made just dogs, and then there were obviously people who brought their children. It was near a park, like a really popular park in the area, so it was nice. People brought their kids. So that's where a lot of my sales came from. I did end up making my booth feedback a couple times over, which was really nice. It was nice to just get out in the community and sell my plushies because that is like so fulfilling. I know I've said it here and I'll keep saying it because I really love selling at events. Selling my plushies, it's really fulfilling. Even if it's just a tiny little $5 whale, for people to just be bewildered by it is just a whole experience. People did love the plushies, but there were just a couple things. Obviously my tent being one of the big ones, and I was just kind of bummed out because I knew I needed to invest in a new tent. I had this tent for over a year and a half, but it still probably could have lasted me longer if I just had heavier weights on them, or I feel like if my weights were tilted a different way so that when the wind blew it, they didn't like kick off, but I think the way that the wind gusted like sideways, like kicked off. Does that make sense? And then the way the sidewall was. So it was just unfortunate. I'm not too worried about it because I know that like with the money that I made from today or from this market that I'll be able to like reinvest in a tent. So it will all be okay, but that is just an expense I didn't expect to have. So it's one of those things that like you live and you learn. And I did like lose a bunch of my big plushies at that one event. And I did not throw them away. They are just sitting on a shelf right now because I was only able to clean a couple of them. Not all of them have been revived, but you know, you lose stuff at certain events, like, and you gain knowledge. And so this is one of those things where I gained knowledge on like tent weights. Even when I've had the really heavy weights on the tent, it still has blown off. And a lot of my neighbors had this problem. Like a lot of my neighbors who had weights had this problem. So the only people who were safe were like sandbag vendors, people who had sandbags. So I feel like I'm just gonna get fill my sandbags up and tie them to my tent. I feel like that's like the only way to secure it. Now that I've really seen it in action in real life, that's one of the things like I gained knowledge from this go around. As far as plushies goes, I sold really well from the dog plushies. I had a couple of dog plushies that I specifically made for this event and they all went goodbye. I also gave my card out, and I know that I got a couple of online website plushie sales because of the event. I feel like there were people who maybe saw them there and then didn't pull the trigger, but then wanted to buy them on my website later, which was really cool because I saw directly a couple people buy plushies on my website after the event, which normally I don't have many plushie sales on my website, so it's always such a blessing to see that, and it just makes my day because I'm like, oh, someone bought a plushie on my website. So I did create some like little tags for those to go ship out next week. You'll see that in my vlog. So networking nonetheless. I definitely felt self-conscious about not having a tent around my table because I've always had a tent. I've never had this happen before. And I also am so grateful that I had like table banners saying what my company was because I couldn't have my tent banner. So it worked out in such a strange way that I did have table banners because of the convention. I have table banners, which is great, with my updated logo on them. So they're just like fabric, and I can put them in the washing machine, and they're super easy to clean and take care of, and they are the same colors as like everything on my table, and it also says my company name on them. So it was a good / bad thing, but I had them, so it was nice. It was also hard to see, like, honestly, at this event, not that anyone knows, but like when I show up to an event and then there's no one wearing like any kind of help shirt, like no one's wearing any staff shirt. It was really hard to find out like where to get in and where to go. They sent us a map of like where we're gonna be, but then they said to look for the traffic signals. There were no traffic signals. There was no one guiding anybody. It was kind of difficult. There were some cones, so I just followed the cones. But overall, it is a lot easier when there are like staff people wearing shirts at the entrances, because there's no one wearing shirts at the entrances, or not that I saw when I got there. So I kind of struggled to like find my spot and get there, find someone to tell me where to go, because like at this event, they didn't give me a numbered spot that some places do. They said find someone, or you'll see a traffic person who works in the front, and then they'll tell you where to go, but no one was in the front. So that was kind of the struggle, like getting there and setting up like took extra long, and then my tent flipped over and then broke, so that took me extra long. But then once I was set up, the race was just about being like finished. It was like 8 a.m. So that was great, because then the runners who were finishing were able to see the plushies, and people did purchase. Normally, I will do like a roundup with like pictures, but this time, maybe to make it quicker, I could just verbally tell you what sold. There were a lot of really small plushies that I don't have pictures of that sold. I don't know if I can maybe put the patterns picture up. I don't know if that's allowed because it is the pattern designer's pictures, but I don't have pictures of some of these plushies. So I sold Standing Labrador, which is by S² Creations, I believe. It was like a little tiny Labrador that I showed you that I made last week. Sold that for $15. A $15 weenie by... The weenie dog is by Elegant Purely, and those are so cute. I have sold every single one that I've ever made of them. They're hard to keep in stock at any event. 2 all from Jade Wales. I sold a little blue one and a little pink one. I had a frog ballerina for $8, which is a free pattern on Instagram. I love that pattern. It's quick and easy and free. Sold an $8 possum. The possums I made were by Haru Crochet. An $8 Kirby. $8 capybaras. Like the whole section I have with like those creatures are all $8. My free pattern on my Instagram, go check it out if you want to. A $8 manatee, which is by A Parlin Crochet. I had a $15 Totoro. This is a free pattern by Danny Magpie, but I bought her 3-in-1 pattern, so I believe it's free though. You could buy a free version, or you can look at the free version on her Instagram. 2 more, all from Jade Wales for $5. I sold a yellow one and a blue one, if anyone's curious. Another $15 weenie. And then I had a $15 loaf cat. This is a free pattern on Instagram by Mel's Crochet, and Mel's has a Z, so M-E-L-Z Crochet. It's basically like the Annie Caraway, but smaller. And it also has color changes, but I didn't do the color changes. Jinx for $25, and then I sold another possum for $8. And a $15 corgi, which is a pattern by Poggy's Place, which I thought I'd love these patterns, and Poggy's Place seems like such a cool creator. It looks like very market-friendly makes. I just could not stand to make that thing. I don't know what's wrong with me. I enjoy surface crocheting, maybe just not that much, and it was after I'd already made the S² Creations one, and that is very heavy on surface crochet. I don't know if I'd rather just crochet a limb separately and sew it on. And maybe that's why I just was like, why am I surface crocheting this? Because then I have to tack it down when I could just crochet it separately and sew it on. I don't know. It just bothered me because it was like a lot of extra work, but it was like a low effort piece, but it was high effort, if that makes sense. It looks like all together financially, it was a $208 market. I subtracted $40 for the fee to be there, and that fee for them goes straight into their shelter, into their helping their dogs. That goes for kennel fees and for food and for helping rehome them. So that is the fee for them, and I was so happy to give it to them and not to anyone else. Like, I normally pay $100 to $150 to go to events, and you know, it's just given to the coordinators to rent the space, which is fine, but it was so nice to know that it was going to a nonprofit. It just felt so good to give that to them, because like I know that these dogs, they need that. So after that, my total was $168, and then I subtracted 30% of the original cost, which was $50. I subtracted $62 from 168, which was 30%, which is like taxes. That is not me calculating my yarn. Now, I have been working on this. I'm not doing very well at it, but one of my things is like weighing my yarn this year and finding out like how much each project is actually costing me in time and materials. Now, not all people calculate their crochet projects this way. This is how I really wanted to try and calculate them again, because at one point I did calculate them this way, but lately I've just been doing it based off of like size and maybe like relative time. As far as the materials go, unless it's hand painted safety eyes, to me they all like cost the same. So you know, it's like my labor and like if I enjoyed making it or not. It's like that's kind of how I gauge projects, but I know that's not what I should be doing for like my business. So take my results with a grain of salt, because again, I don't weigh my yarn, which is my supply for the business. So I know that irritates some people, which I'm being transparent. If I subtract the taxes and then the $40, my overall profit was $106, which I will take as a W. I'll take that as a win, because that is $100 that I get to put back into the tent that broke that day, which is perfectly fine. And I just hope to have better events in the future. Maybe I'll be better prepared, and I'll have the wisdom to make good plushie making decisions. Maybe I'll just choose a better event in the future. But overall, I had a really good experience. It was nice to see everyone's puppies. I enjoyed selling my plushies, and at my next event, I plan on having like, I don't know if I'm going to have like a big clearance section, or if I'm just going to start putting in like a bunch of free plushies. If you buy a plushie on my website, I'm going to throw in like some freebies just for fun, because I want to like clear out my inventory and I want you guys to enjoy them instead of me donating them. I'd rather give them to anyone who purchases things on my website. So I think I'm going to either have a clearance section at my table at my next event, or I'm just going to start throwing in some cool plushie freebies if you're cool with that. I think that's how I'm going to approach this next season of life. As always, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I really enjoyed catching up and sharing and being transparent with my small business with you. I hope it was insightful, and maybe if you learned a thing or two from me, because I definitely learn from every single event that I go to, and I just have a blast selling and sharing my crochet creations. Have a good day, you guys. I'll see you next week. Bye!